welcome to the Orion Bowl 2025 season. Welcome to week 4 of the Orion Bowl NFL Fantasy League Commissioner video extraordinaire. If you're not in the Orion Bowl Fantasy League, I don't know what you're doing here, but welcome. And for all of you in the Orion Bowl Fantasy League, welcome once again to another perfectly on-time Commissioner video with a recap of week 3. We'll look ahead to week 4, and maybe there's a few NFL fantasy tidbits in here, some advice from the Commissioner, which will be ignored as it should be, because I obviously didn't win last week, didn't cover myself in a whole lot of glory, so which is a brilliant segue into the recap. So, as I say, it was an underwhelming performance from Baltimore. That, coupled with a shrewd pickup of Marcus Mariota by the Harlots, got them rolling on their first win. Congratulations to the Harlots. The 49ers, they bolted their wheels back on. Their wheels were falling off, but clipped them back on with a 1-4-2, dropping a 142-point game on the coach's sons. That between Jordan Mason and Jalen Hurts, doing 50 points between them, that's a nice week. It's a nice week. Anybody would be glad to have either of those guys on their roster in week 3. Having both of them, well, that's just gravy, isn't it? Team with no name with B takes a win despite CD Lamb getting a snake eyes. He does have the RB1 on the season, though, so there is that, and that's why he took that win, really. Commiserations, Arizona. And the Legion got almost 60 points from Taylor and Williams, dropping 132 points on the Gorillas. 80 of those points were a surplus because the Gorillas only did 50-odd, which I don't see that continuing, by the way. I do. The Gorillas have got some half-decent players. 30 points from the D as well. Good God. That was, completely wasted, obviously, but good Lord. Now, Montgomery, this is breaking news. Injury update. David Montgomery is now questionable. All right. He's got a back injury from carrying baby God Dak to a win over the team with no name with A, or the Minnesota Vikings. I thought that was a pretty good one. I quite enjoyed that. So, so sweet D of the week goes to the Vikings, dropping 30 points on the Gorillas. That's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Week number 4. Let's have a look at week 4. So, first up, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking on baby God Dak. Now, the Baltimore Ravens will be playing at quarterback this week after a blockbuster trade. I'm going to be playing Indiana Jones. Look, who would have thought that going into week 4, that Daniel Jones would be QB4 on the season? I didn't see it coming, but maybe the problem is New York. We've seen it before with many a Jets quarterback. Maybe the problem is New York. It might not be that, because Daniel, he's not just been putting up numbers, but he's looked sensational as well. I had a surplus of running backs. I was looking at who I'm going to play. So I need to find a way to get Javonte Williams in my team. But how do I play him? I can't play him over Bijan Robinson. Quinshon Judkins, I can't play him over him either. He's averaging 5 yards a carry at the moment, and he's number 1 in Cleveland. Can't really play him over Bucky Irving either, because Bucky Irving, whilst he hasn't been doing Bucky Irving numbers, he's still putting up numbers. And then I've still got Breece Hall and Ashton Jeanty. So, I can rotate to keep my squad fresh. I'm not quite sure if that works in fantasy, but either way, trading Javonte Williams for Indiana Jones allows me to have Bo Nix as the backup. And I was going to put Matthew Stafford in there. All hopes were relying on Stafford, but I've now dropped him out so that I can put in Ayamana. He's the rookie at Tennessee. He's really good. He's clearly their wide receiver 1. I know that they're not brilliant on offense this year, but there are going to be certain matchups where he's going to be well worth playing because he's been targeted in the red zone all the time. And he's very talented. He's very, very good. I was surprised he was still available. And I've got Pittman Jr. there as well. So I'm going with, this week, the running backs I'm going with Robinson, Judkins, and Bucky Irving. Edge Booker and Deebo Samuel, I've got to put those in because Terry McLaurin is out. We know that much. It's not confirmed yet whether it's going to be Jaden Daniels playing or not. But in either event, with Terry McLaurin out, Deebo Samuel is a must-play. Now, None of that. And I'm going to be having Daniel Jones as well. Daniel Jones is going to be playing the LA Rams. Indiana Jones versus the LA Rams. It won't help, and it won't help for two reasons. Josh Allen against New Orleans, and O'Hampton is now taking 100%. Like, he's now the number one at LA, but he also doesn't have any competition because the starting running back has gone down injured. So with that having happened, that leaves Baltimore with no chance this week. Absolutely no chance. That's what you got to do. Now, I just mean that, no, respectfully, Montgomery's on fire. Josh Allen is Josh Allen. And O'Hampton, now not having any competition for that role, he's going to be getting the production. I don't see me having a good week this week. I don't see me doing enough points to beat Dak. But that doesn't mean I've given up on my lineup. I still believe in my team. I still believe that the playoffs are well within grasp. What I'm saying is 1-3 never looked as good as the Baltimore Ravens. Let me tell you that. So then we've got the Suns versus the Harlots. So on this one, the main thing I'd like to say about the coach's Suns is, good golly, McCaffrey is still healthy and it's week 4. I didn't see that coming. I don't think you saw that coming either. I am astounded, flabbergasted, in fact. But the fact is, he's still there, and that's why the coach's Suns will always be in with a shout of getting the win. Saquon Barkley on the Harlots has gotten their bad games out of the way, so that's fine. He's going to be nothing but big games from here on in. Although I still think that the Harlots should find a way to get Scatterboo into his lineup, because Scatterboo are running on the LA Chargers. But I just think Scatterboo's fun to say, fun to play, is what I would say. Juju Smith-Njigba and Jamar Gibbs, you've got a lot of big players there, Harlots. So this game is going to have huge scores. Which one is going to be the bigger? You've got McCaffrey for the Suns, Keenan Allen. I would rather have Johnston, honestly, than Keenan Allen at the moment. I think Johnston's kind of slipping away into that wide receiver run role. Chase hasn't been good this season so far. Is this the week that he comes good? Krosky Merritt, get him out of there. Get him out of there. I don't know who you put in instead. But he's your flex, isn't he? You've got Chubb and McCaffrey. I'd probably put Addison in. I'd put Addison in over Krosky Merritt. Look, the Washington backfield is a mess right now. You've got 4 running backs. They can't decide which one is going to have the ball from one week to the next. Look, he might have a big game, but what I'm saying is it's too unpredictable. I would say that Jordan Addison has much more upside against the Pittsburgh Steelers than Krosky Merritt has against Atlanta, in a backfield where he's sharing the ball like seemingly evenly with 3 other running backs. That seems like an insane decision to me. But what do I know? It's your team. It's your team. I'm going with the Harlots, just because if you keep Krosky Merritt in your lineup, the Harlots win this with ease. And then you've got the Arizona Cardinal taking on the Dennis Trey Gorillas. Now, just want to note that the Dennis Trey Gorillas quarterback will not be Indiana Jones, because they're coming to the Baltimore Ravens, right? They're coming to the Baltimore Ravens. So he'll be playing Pat Mahomes, which honestly is a perfectly serviceable quarterback to be putting in. Justin Fields should be back. If he's back against Miami, that's big for Arizona, because he runs, he throws, he's very, very good. I think the Jets still have a chance to come good this year, but I'm a Jets fan. Am I romanticizing them? Maybe, but I think they still have a chance to come good. I think this could be the turning point. If they can't do it against Miami, though, on Miami's current form, that's going to be disappointing. I'm not sure why Arizona is trusting any running back. I wouldn't trust any running back for Kansas City right now, let alone the RB2, if I'm being honest. I don't know who you would put in instead. Maybe come talk to me. I have a surplus of running backs. Maybe I could take Kincaid off your hands. I'm just throwing things out there, Maybe we'll have a little trade. Have a little trade. But yeah, I mean, you should not be relying on any Kansas running back, especially number 2. For that, but what I will say is your wide receivers are really, really impressive. Obviously, you've got Williams for Detroit. They should have a good day against Cleveland. Puka Nacua and Johnston, all of those three should have very good games this week. And that is going to be the difference maker. That is why Arizona are going to return to the glorious shores of Fistiana. Victory. But yeah, I pick Arizona to win that one. Most, like I said, for those three wide receivers, I think they're outstanding, and you've done well to get them all onto your lineup. Then you have got Legion versus the team with no name with aka the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Hertz, Hertz isn't on there. Hertz is the next. That's my notes for the next game. That's true professional. I'm assuming Legion is trolling by playing Brock Purdy. If I'm honest, Purdy's just not looked brilliant. I don't know, against the Jags. I guess. I don't know who would you put in though. I don't know. I'd probably put Williams in against Vegas. I think I don't know. But what do I know? I'm in the loser column this week. Lamar Jackson probably puts in more points than Purdy, but Legion do have Kamara and Taylor. Between them, either one of them is going to go off like a rocket most weeks. You also got Pickens, who's not got any CD Lamb to compete with this week, so he probably has a monster game. Amon-Ra St. Brown can go off at any time. Honestly, Malik Nabers he's got Dart thrown to him this week, so if Dart looks good, Nabers looks good. I think, and what worries me on the team with no name with A is Metcalf. Metcalf, I wouldn't play him, honestly. I would put in Jerry Jeudy, because the problem with Metcalf is he's very dependent on Aaron Rodgers playing well. Aaron Rodgers has shown a steady decline since he had his revenge game against the Jets. That seems like all Aaron Rodgers was interested in was getting the revenge game against the Jets. Now he is going to start failing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's going to start failing them often. You've already seen his passing numbers go right down. He's throwing interceptions all over the place. Metcalf, I would sell high on him, but I don't know anyone who's going to take him off your hands. But Jeudy is going up against the Detroit secondary. Now, I know that Cleveland aren't the most prolific scorers in the league, but they are going to be playing from behind, and the Detroit secondary hasn't been the best. I would say Jerry Jeudy has way more upside than DK Metcalf this week. And for that reason, I am leaning towards the Legion in this one, just because he has so many potential big players that it's hard to see him losing. Well, obviously it may happen, but between Taylor, St. Brown, and Pickens, I think that Legion get the win in that one. And that brings us to the final game, the Forbes Niners versus the team with no name with B. Now, Hertz, he's starting to really get cooking, isn't he? He's now getting points through the air. He wasn't doing that so much in the first two games. Week 3, you really start putting some yardage up through the air, and you couple that with his ability to run the ball. He's just a lock. Hertz is a lock at this point. Derrick Henry also, he might have put up some, they're not disappointing numbers. They're just not Derrick Henry numbers, but his Derrick Henry numbers are coming, right? And when you've got Jordan Mason in there as well, who are probably going to be playing ahead against Pittsburgh, but to be fair, I think Mason has a decent game. Cortland Sutton and Rome Odunze, both fantastic. Rome Odunze, 100% the number one in Chicago. Cortland Sutton, the number one at Denver. And the thing is, Denver haven't been brilliant this year, but they're playing against Cincinnati. So Cincinnati have been just bad enough for me to have supreme confidence in Bo Nix and in Cortland Sutton. Obviously, I'm going to be playing Indiana Jones just because it's more fun to play Indiana Jones. But I think Bo Nix probably has a decent game this week. And yeah, for that reason, you've got Drake May. Yeah, he's pretty good. I'll give you that. He's been doing okay. You've got the number one running back on the year, but he's going to suffer this week because Josh Allen is going to run in 3+ running touchdowns because Josh Allen is playing me. That's how this is going to go. Look, obviously, would I take a big game from James Cook personally as a Baltimore Ravens franchise owner? Yes, I would take a huge game from Cook because a huge game from Cook will likely mean Josh Allen hasn't had a great game. But I just feel like those numbers from Cook, they're fragile. They're going to drop off. Collins needs a better quarterback. Nico Collins needs a better quarterback. He's so CJ Stroud dependent. CJ Stroud's value has dropped. It's plummeted because he just isn't the player that we saw in his rookie year, is he? Like, stop me. Where's the lie? Stop me where I'm wrong. So Collins, he's no good. Like Henry, he's dependent. AJ Brown, he might be back on form. So, but all that being said, I don't think it's going to be enough to take out the might of the Forbes Niners who have bolted those wheels back on. Now, I'm going to call it a day there because, as you can hear, my throat is killing me. I'm not ill. I've got this bloody cough. Like, my throat is just killing me. So I'm going to head out. If I picked you to win, prove me right. If I picked you to lose, prove me wrong. I'll see you all. I'll be in the losers circle. So I'll see some of you losers there, and some of you winners can wave at me from the shores of Fistiana. See you next week.